All right, you guys, so the final method or tool that we're gonna use is the algorithm, okay? This word right here, algorithm, that's the math word for rule. So can you just write rule right here? The word algorithm means rule, okay? So we are gonna take notes on the rule. A couple things you need for this. You definitely need a pencil, you need your note sheet, and then you need 2 different color highlighters. I would like it to be the same color highlighters that you used on the back, okay? So try to go, if you need to pause the video to go grab them, go grab those 2 highlighters. If you didn't get highlighters for the number line, you definitely need highlighters for this, so please grab some and then play the video. Okay, so if you're playing the video, you should have your highlighters and your pencil, you're ready to take some notes. Okay, here we go. So there's 2 rules for adding integers. If the 2 values have the same sign, then add and use the same sign. Okay? We're gonna do 2 examples of that rule and we're gonna highlight them. So we're on the back, if you highlighted, this one right here where both of the numbers had the same sign, they were both negative, whatever color you use there, pick up that color right now, okay? We're gonna highlight that rule with that color. So this is kind of hard to do with, okay, that's hard to, I'm gonna do it and then okay, just go. Highlight the rule. This is hard to do with one hand, you guys. Okay, there's the rule. 2 values have the same sign, then you just add them and use that same sign. So we're gonna do 2 examples. By the way, I need you to split, this is hard. I need to hold this with my chin or something. Split this all the way across. We're gonna split it into 4 boxes because we're gonna have 4 examples. Doesn't have to be perfect lines, okay? If you wanna make it perfect, pause the video and then play it again. All right, so we're gonna do 2 examples of problems where both values have the same sign. Let's do 2 positives first. Let's say, I'm looking at my notes here of what I wanted to do. Just a second, oopsie. Okay. All right, let's do 5 plus 3. All right, they're both positive, so we just add them up. That gives us 8. Since these are both positive, it is positive 8. Okay, let's just go ahead and put those, if you want to put those positive in there, cool. If they confuse you, then leave them off. We know that if a number doesn't have a negative next to it, that's positive. Okay, now let's do an example where they're both negative. Let's do this. Negative 2 plus negative 3. We're going to add them and then use that same negative sign since they're both negative. So 2 plus 3 gives us 5. And because both of these numbers have the same sign, they're both negative, it's negative. All right? Now, it's gonna be tricky with my one hand. But these 2 examples, they go with that first rule because both numbers have the same signs. I'm gonna just watch this, guys. Let's see if I can do this. Highlight, I'll show you in a second, all the way across both of those examples. I would say that a lot of kids like the rules best, but the rules are sometimes hard to remember, so that's that. Okay, so your page should look like that because these 2 examples go with this rule. Now, the next rule is, pick up your pencil. If the signs are different, fill that in, then subtract and take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. Now, what the heck is absolute value? That just means it's like the greater distance from 0. So like 5 is farther from 0 than 3 is. 5 has the greater absolute value. Negative 2 and negative 3. We just basically, to find absolute value, you ignore the positive or negative sign and then just think to yourself, okay, which number is greater? So out of negative 3 and negative 2, negative 3 has the greatest absolute value. Okay, that's just an example. All right, so let's do an example of this. Negative 4 plus positive 7. So we already know these 2 numbers have different signs. This one's negative, this one's positive. So we're gonna subtract. So just ignore the negative for a second. 7 minus 4 is 3. So we're going to write 3 over here. Then we take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. Ask yourself, if we ignore this, which number is bigger? Sorry for my bad nail polish. Don't judge me. Which number is greater, 4 or 7? You should be answering to yourself, well, yes, Miss Megan, 7 is a bigger number. So we take the sign of this number. This number is positive. So our answer is positive 3. Okay? Let's do another example. So we have 6, positive 6, plus negative 8. Okay? So just ignore the sign for right now. We're just looking at the 6 and the 8. We subtract and take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. So 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay? All right, 2 over here. Now, what sign do we use? Well, let's think. Which of these two numbers, 6 or 8, has the greatest absolute value? 8 does, okay, because 8 is farther away from 0. So since 8 is a negative, we're going to take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. We're going to use that negative sign in our answer. Bop, there's your answer, okay? So let's go ahead and color code this. I'm going to highlight. You guys can watch me. We're going to highlight the rule and the examples. So they're all color coordinated. I love a good color coordination. Go ahead and highlight with me. Here's what it's going to look like that. Okay? So these two problems down here are examples of what to do when the signs are different. And these two problems up here are examples of what to do when the signs are the same. Okay? So that's the algorithm or rule for adding integers. All right.